sued many sexual predators who have committed crimes against women and children.
After 5 weeks of testimony from more than 45 witnesses, R. Kelly was found guilty in court on Monday. That's one of R. Kelly's attorneys after a federal jury in Brooklyn handed out the guilty verdict.
To the victims in this case, your voices were heard and justice was finally served.
Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly, the singer faced 1 count of racketeering, a federal charge that focuses on organized criminal activity and the collective enterprise of individuals carrying out the illegal activity. According to the initial indictment, the enterprise in this case includes Kelly, as well as his managers, bodyguards, drivers, and others. Kelly was also found guilty of 8 violations of the Mann Act, a federal law that prohibits sex trafficking. The charges date back decades and involve 6 complaining witnesses. Since first being indicted by a grand jury in 2019, Kelly has maintained his innocence on all charges.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Goodson, and you are watching Rebranders alongside my co-host, Adrian the A. Stinson. And
so, world. He couldn't take it. And R. Kelly clip was too much for him.
He had to go in and wipe his eyes, wipe his face.
You know the old ladies be in the funeral. I can't do it.
Well, hey, look, we have a pretty interesting show today. We want to sit and talk about R. Kelly in addition to other things. We want to talk about AJ Johnson. And for those of you who don't know, he's what's his name? Ezell from Friday. And of course, he passed away a couple weeks ago. They say he passed away a month ago, and they just told us a couple weeks ago. So anyway, we want to talk about him because they're saying his family cannot put him in the ground. We'll have to learn more about that. But anyway, we got a great show. Let's just jump right on in it. We got a few people already shouting out to us, so let's see what those people have to say. One of those people being, let's go ahead and click on that. Kirby, what's up, Kirby? He said, what's up, fellas?
What's going on, everybody?
Also, he says, agree or disagree with the verdict. Hey, look here. Let me go ahead and just jump right on in that. R. Kelly, for those of you who are watching, was convicted on all counts of sexual misconduct and the Mann Act, which is one of the things that they mentioned. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Mann Act later. Ace, go ahead, tell us what you think.
Man, I hope we don't lose listening and stuff like that. He got everything coming to him. I mean, I don't have sympathy for you when you have sex with children. Point blank.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna tell you. I think that I got sympathy for him. Only, but I don't really have sympathy for R. Kelly. I feel like there's way more people who needs to be convicted. Is he guilty? Yes. Does he need to go to prison? Yes. But there's people around him, himself, parents.
Goodson, I'll put it to you like this: if me and you rob a bank together, and I run faster than you, we both rob the bank, but you get caught by the police. You still committed the crime. I got away with it. I deserve to be in jail with you, but you still robbed the bank. You just got caught.
The problem with the analogy is, what if we both caught on video? They know who you are. See, all these kids, or many of these kids, their parents were enabling them to go to R. Kelly's house. See, they caught on videotape when they're enabling their kids to go to R. Kelly's house.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about it. Honestly, with me, like the parents should be held accountable. You know, everything. I agree with everything everybody's saying, but he's where he needs to be.
Absolutely. Now, of course, this is Rebranders. It wouldn't make any sense if we didn't bring up the racial side of this thing. So I'm going to bring up the racial side of this thing. We're seeing a lot of memes. We're seeing a lot of pictures. We're seeing a lot of Facebook. People are saying stuff like, well, look at Harvey Weinstein. And I forget many other people who had these different sexual acts.
He was paying his victims. Harvey Weinstein, they were just predators. R. Kelly was paying his victims. He didn't have no money.
Well, of course, it really is not a racial thing. If I shoot somebody, I should go to jail, no matter if I'm black or white. That's the way I see that.
Well, I think it's definitely got some race. I mean, we got to be real. Yeah, definitely. Sympathy is a Christian standard, but however, we take that too far sometimes. Yes, I have sympathy as far as, wow, I hate that happened to him, but I don't have sympathy as far as what he got. You know, it's just like, a child you did wrong, you got a spanking. I hate you getting a spanking, but No, you needed a spanking. I think I think we got so much masking what's going on that we kind of have or he made the music we grew up to. He had all the hits. He was R. Kelly. Everybody had love for him. And I think we use all that to man, and then it's racial too. Harvey Weinstein do need to be in prison. The other ones do need to be in prison. But let's not change the fact that that grown man who had grown women all over the world wanted him. He didn't want them. He wanted babies. He's on sex tape with a 15-year-old. He married Aaliyah, lied about, he been doing it for years. So let's not, I know I know he has a nice suit on, but it's kind of like Beauty and the Beast. He's a monster in a nice suit. So let's not lose that fact. I think some of us have too much sympathy because he didn't get around our baby. I got daughters. Kelly would have been dead by now. I might be in jail, but I'll be the guy that killed R. Kelly,
Right.
But yeah, so when I say sympathy, I know sympathy is a Christian standard, and I pray for him. I pray that he can, get himself together. I mean, however, he's a grown man, and if he wrote all those genius songs. It wasn't too hard for him to figure out I shouldn't be sleeping with kids.
So what's the bigger story? The bigger story, and I'll get to this comment that we have below in just a bit. What's the biggest story? Is it that it took them 25 years or so to finally get R. Kelly, starting dating all the way back to Aaliyah? Or is the bigger story that R. Kelly, the big super songwriter, hero songs for Michael Jackson, he got some of the number one hits in the world, I Believe I Can Fly, that he is a sexual predator? Now, we're going to talk about the Mann Act in a little bit. You're going to be surprised about some of the people who were convicted of the Mann Act also. So that's something we're going to talk about. But I want to ask you, what's the bigger story? And I think we have Eric on here. He's ready too. What's the bigger story, that it took 25 years to get R. Kelly, or that R. Kelly actually did this? But first, let's go to the comment. Kirby says Weinstein is a disgrace. Race makes no difference when it comes to paying the price for sexual misconduct. Unless the same crime doesn't get the same penalty, then yes, the race issue needs to come into the conversation. What do you guys have to say about that before you get to my question?
About that was a great comment, by the way. Who was that? I'm sorry, I can't see.
That's Kirby.
Kirby, great comment. I do honestly, I think race is coming to the issue with this because of everything they're stacking on him. They stacking with, they got you thinking he got this whole sex ring, sex traffic, machine going on, and it wasn't like that. He was hold on, let's stop the press right here in the middle of it. I said it once and I said it a million times on this show. We're gonna defend Mike every time. First of all, Mike is the monster that everybody made in their head. This is what I say: when the FBI investigates you for 5 years and they come up with 0, you got to be, what are you going to say? He was investigated by the FBI for 5 years. The FBI, they raided Neverland. They took him, took pictures of his wee-wee, took DNA and all that. And the FBI didn't find Mike guilty on anything. Like, it was like Mike 100, FBI 0. So when the FBI investigates you for 5 years, you're innocent. Now, is Mike strange? Hell yeah. Does it look funny with him hanging with kids and stuff? Yes, it does. Did he put himself in a particular predicament and make himself look strange? Yes, but the truth is, he didn't do anything. Now let's fast forward back to R. Kelly. He on tape pissing on a 15-year-old.
Well, they asked, did you watch Leaving Neverland? Of course, we're getting a whole different conversation. We talk about that. Now we're talking about Oprah and other things. But somebody said, ha, good point. But all right, so my original question, and Eric, I think you're on there. The question I asked a moment ago, and I want y'all to answer this for me if you can. What's the bigger shock with this R. Kelly situation? That it took them 25 years to get this man, or, well, I forgot what the second part of the question was.
Or, I forgot what second part. How you gonna forget your own question? But
well, when you said that's it, you threw me off.
That's it. I'm gonna tell you something. The 25 years, and this is the thing about it. He got away with it for 25 years, and he didn't stop.
Yeah.
He got caught numerous times, and they let him off. You're a celebrity. You're a celebrity. You're a celebrity. And that's why when people keep bringing up other celebrities and stuff, it ain't like they picked R. Kelly out and made R. Kelly a victim. That man, we knew he was a pedophile in 91, 92.
Oh, I think it was around 95. So in 1995, R. Kelly was married to Aaliyah around that time. Okay.
So that
was 15 years old.
95 is when we found out everything. But before then, it was all the sign. We were like,
okay. So in 95 is when the stuff started. That's when the rumors started. That's when those things came. All right. 2001, of course, she passes away. But in 1995, let's just start there, because that's 26 years ago. Let's fast forward 2001. I believe that's when the whole, peeing on people and the sex tapes and all that stuff started. Here we are in 2021. We're just now seeing R. Kelly get convicted. But my question is, of course, this is rebranders. How is it that R. Kelly, a black man at that, was able to get away with this? Because the accusations were there. It's not like they weren't. Bill Cosby's accusations didn't come to much later. R. Kelly's was there from the very beginning, and he's just I guess maybe it's who R. Kelly was kind of doing his thing with too.
He had black victims.
Exactly.
But his celebrity kept getting him out of trouble, and he wasn't. I mean, he deserved to be in prison back then, but he didn't stop. They kept slapping him on the wrist and turning their backs to it. And every time something happened, accusation come up, he'll have a gospel song. He'll be telling heaven he need a hug. Anybody out there want to love a thug? Oh, give me a hug, man. You didn't mean to bang that baby. You didn't mean to have sex with that child. He come out with one of those songs. And for the record, I'll tell everybody, because I know I probably sound like I'm an R. Kelly fan.
Me too.
But I'm more a fan of the law.
Justice.
Pedophiles.
We want to know what you guys have to say about this R. Kelly situation, because this is very interesting, because sometimes we can't see the forest for the tree. We love the music, but we don't understand the personal life of this stuff. Bill Cosby, same way. Harvey Weinstein, especially in the black community, we don't care so much because, quite honestly, he's not a celebrity to us. But, Michael Jackson, all these people, we love the music, but whatever the accusations are, we sometimes excuse because of their celebrity. We definitely want to hear from all of you. Definitely give us a shout. Hey, somebody said, now, if Rick Ross does the same stuff, I'm no longer a fan. That's Kirby.
Real quick, now, before some of y'all out there in computer, internet, TV land or whatever, before some of y'all pass judgment, I tell everybody this, you better check the ages of your grandparents. Grandpa like 87 and grandma like 60, whatever, it's better. So
and they got married when grandpa was 39.
Yeah. So I'm just telling y'all, some of y'all check your stuff.
Absolutely. Hey, look, when we come back, we're gonna talk much more about this, but first we definitely want to dig into this AJ Johnson, aka Ezell from Friday, and see exactly how y'all feel about his wife going on what TMZ or whatever, YouTube, whatever she went on and did a little complaining that nobody was helping as if it was our duty. We'll show you the video when we come back.
It's smart.
If you just think about it, everybody that has had a harm or a foul done to them has been paid some form of reparations. It's up for us.
It's informative.
Systemic racism is a form of racism that is embedded as normal practice within society or an organization.
It's funny.
We were doing a march for equal rights for people in the adult industry with missing limbs.
Because
that's the thing I feel our community is missing the most. We just don't take action. We're so skeptical of so many things that we wind up being the ones holding ourselves back.
It's rebranders.
I did the GoFundMe. It's $700 in there. Few of my friends cashed at me, and I made that clear. I got like another $400.
Well, what do you think about that?
She needs to.
I was in there. She $400 cashed out to her. She said a lot of her celebrity friends are saying and throwing out how much they love her, but they're not showing love to her. Of course, now we do know in the end that a celebrity who's not probably all that rich ended up giving $10,000 towards his AJ Johnson's burial, and that was Michael Blackson. He gave her $10,000.
What kind of funeral is she trying to have? If Michael Blackson gave her $10,000, what kind of funeral is she trying to have? I mean, it's like, come on now. Like, I mean, he made us laugh and he had a few roles, but I mean, you know, it ain't like we burying, you know, Aretha Franklin passed or something like that.
I think she would have probably had her stuff together anyways. Yeah, I don't know. This is, but you know, I feel some kind of way about when people do the GoFundMes. I mean, I've had some personal situations where I've seen that people do a GoFundMe because they want to get their houses fixed up. People want to do a GoFundMe because they want to do some things that are not necessarily my problem. Now, funeral, this is from the heart and all those things, but somebody like him, how did he not have his stuff together? Life insurance, put some money back. I'm sure he had a pretty wild lifestyle. How is it that he didn't have something together to where if he were to pass, he could have his family and his burial situation, if nothing else, taken care of?
I think at some point, I know there was talk of he had a drug issue. Hey, that's funny. It's sad, but that's not our responsibility. I'm sorry, you know. Melvin Van Peebles just passed. You know, I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm kind of more on that. My cousin just passed. You know, I was thinking about that before AJ Johnson. But here's the thing. You at what point? Well, like, what are you trying to get from this? If Michael Blackson gave you $10,000, why can't you bury that man? I mean, are the funeral prices higher in LA and we just don't know? Well, I'm pretty sure $10,000 can get you started with something. And then as far as the family ain't got nothing to give.
Well, AJ Johnson, for those of you who are just joining us, he played Ezell in Friday. He was a crackhead. He also played in Players Club. He was I think he was Bernie Mac's assistant. I don't even know what his name was. Do you?
He was the dude selling dope on the Black Panthers movie too.
Yeah, exactly. He passed away, as y'all know, a couple weeks ago. Now, of course, we just showed you all a clip. His wife is begging to have somebody to help bury him so that they can have a funeral.
Well, she's not even begging. She kind of trying to shame people.
Well, she's doing both at once because she apparently had only $700 plus another $400 from something. So $1,100 wasn't going to do it unless they were just going to do a cremation and nothing else. And so we want to, of course, know what you guys think about that. Go ahead and send us something in the comment. Before that, we were talking about R. Kelly. R. Kelly. Let's get back on R. Kelly a little bit.
Mr. Half on a Baby.
All right, so R. Kelly, as we all know, has been in the news for many reasons. Great music in the R&B world, great music in the gospel world, and of course his infamous stuff, the sexual stuff. He married Aaliyah. He's peeing on people, and of course, what was that? Being R. Kelly or whatever what was his show?
Oh, Surviving R.
Kelly. Surviving R. Kelly. Have you heard of cremation? Absolutely.
I'm telling you, this is real quick before we get back to R. Kelly. I'm glad I said that cremation point. This is my problem I have with the wife of AJ. Switching to AJ Johnson real quick. So, who was it? Was it Michael Blackson reported something like that? So AJ Johnson died in the store. Well, he had a heart attack or whatever. They rushed him to the hospital. He was in the hospital for like 2 weeks as a John Doe, and they identified his dental records and found out who he was. So you mean tell me they got a John Doe that they can't identify? So his family didn't even search for him for 2 weeks. Because I mean, if you go to the police, hey, my husband missing. We last seen such. They be like, okay, let me check. We got a John Doe. Let's check the John Does we have. So like that. So you didn't even look for the man for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but you know what though? I mean, if you have a drug problem, you got to understand. I'm sure you understand, but if you have a drug problem like this is probably a part of the norm. This is not the first time he'd been missing for 2 weeks. Yeah. You know, and then he come up dead. Of course, they realize it's him, but I'm pretty sure he's going missing for weeks and weeks at a time on other occasions as well. So it's probably not anything strange. Quite honestly, I'll try to pull up his wife again and not even trying to shame her, not trying to be funny or any of that stuff. But if you got two people who have a drug problem. You know, months might go by, and I'm not trying to shame her, but she didn't look like she was far from the situation herself.
Oh man, you can't say that about that lady. She going through something.
She ain't going through nothing. This one, I mean, she went through something a month ago when she found out he was dead.
Well,
right now
but that's still.
Yeah, well, she anyway. I won't go there again. I'm not trying to shame her, but
Had they
point
buried
is,
Hemsley yet?
or James Brown. I don't know if they buried James Brown or Sherman Hemsley. Sherman Hemsley, they had him out the grave for about a year so they could figure out what to do with his $50,000 he had left.
He was my color by the time they buried him. That ain't George.
All right, getting back to our subject, R. Kelly. That's the main topic of tonight. Switching back and forth from a few, we got another one we're going to do here in just a little bit. Drug or no drug problem. She's trying to take advantage of the public. I fully agree with you on that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So let's talk about the Mann Act for a minute. The Mann Act. That's an act that was enacted in 1910.
Because of
Waiting.
was the man that? Oh, I'm asking you. Was it because, or was it just because of him, or was it just kind of
Well, they call it the White Slave Traffic Act, also called the Mann Act. Is the United States federal law passed June 25th, 1910. I believe that's one of my mom's birthdays. It's named after Congressman James Robert Mann of Illinois. Its original form, the act made it a felony to engage in interstate or foreign commerce transport of any woman or girl for the purpose of prostitution or debauchery. Now, of course, we know that debauchery, that's a big word. We now know that there's some famous people. Of course, again, this is Rebranders, where we try to talk about some of the issues of Black America as well, who were Black and also was convicted of the Mann Act. Of course, most notable, or the newest, I should say, is R. Kelly. But see, this was really, I won't say it was enacted because of, and I think they tried to catch him. So I can't say it on air, but we all know it's true. Jack Johnson.
Jack. Yeah, that's why I thought they created it for Jack.
Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the absolute first, most notable person. It happened in 1913. They're trying to catch him. He ended up leaving the country. He went to, I believe, Cuba or somewhere. But anyway, so the Mann Act was married actually to a white woman.
Well, he was taunting them with white women. Like,
of course, he was heavyweight champion of the world. He was married to a white woman, and he'd take his wife, a white woman, from state line. He'd go from this state. Of course, he was born in Galveston, Texas, for those of you who don't know. But anyway, he go from Texas to Illinois to Colorado, whatever states he went to. So they created an act because it was illegal to be married interracially at that time. And so what they did is they created an act to kind of keep him from having his wife exploiting her around the country, making a mockery of the United States, showing this Black man with a white woman. So they created what you call the Mann Act.
The Mann Act, just to keep him away from
white women. But here it is, just like everything else, it always backfires the purpose of you doing it. So everybody who was convicted of the Mann Act is not Black, of course. Jack Johnson, of course, was the first one. Farley Drew Caminetti. I'm not going to read all the names.
Don't know him, but he sound guilty.
Farley Drew Caminetti. He sounds like you wouldn't want to mess with his money. Let's just put it that way. He was convicted in 1913 also, but some notable people that you all may know: Charlie Chaplin. He was acquitted. Frank LaSalle. I don't know him. Charles Manson, but they dropped the charges. Now another person who went to prison, Chuck Berry. Convicted of the Mann Act. Of course, we know now R. Kelly. R. Kelly convicted on all cases. Of course, I say that very loud, but I'm not excited about it. I'm a huge fan of R. Kelly.
Yeah. Now, the part it kills me to say I disagree with, but now the extra stuff where they see this is now he's where he needs to be. And he got what he deserved. However, you're trying to make it seem like you got R. Kelly, you done solve sex trafficking now because you haven't put this energy into these missing kids. You haven't put this energy into like the people that they're catching, like trying to abduct kids and stuff like that. They're not putting all this energy into them and trying to get to the bottom of it. But you have R. Kelly, a public figure. Now he is now he's like the kingpin. He had a racketeering ring going on. And all this kind of stuff. Now that stuff not the case, the man was sleeping with young women. You know, he had like other people do, except they have adults. You know, he sees somebody he send his people, hey, go tell her, you know, this and that or whatever.
Absolutely.
But they trying to make it seem like now that we got him, sex trafficking is over. You know, we got the man.
Well, we have a long day of talking about R. Kelly. We're going to talk about him a whole lot more. We got about 35 minutes of this show. But before we get to Ace's place, also, you know, something else happened this week. Okay? And let's talk about that for a minute. We don't know much about it. I'm sure you don't, Ace. But I'm going to get to it here in just Here we go. Let's watch this little video. Ronald Reagan. I don't think you guys can hear that. Can you hear that?
No, we can't hear the audio. Man, you know how young we was when that happened?
Well, let's just put it this way. March 30th, 1981, Ronald Reagan there was an attempted assassination on Reagan by John Hinckley. March 30th, 1981. A little information that you don't know. Most of our audience is from Dallas or from the Texas area. Of course, we do have some others abroad. We'll let you tell who they are here in just a little bit, Ace. But he went to Highland Park High School. John Hinckley, the guy who tried to kill Ronald Reagan.
Folks crazy out there, I tell you.
Not only that, he graduated or he went to Texas Tech.
Yeah, he's guilty. He's guilty.
So they knew he was crazy. This is the funny part. Now, we're talking about R. Kelly and how 25 years he got away with basically all the things that he did. But Hinckley became obsessed with Jodie Foster, the actor, after watching her in The Taxi Driver and began stalking her, of course, to gain her attention. And then years later, he ended up trying to, you know, assassinate our president.
He was all over the place. Wait a minute. So he was stalking Jodie Foster. Then he said, since I can't have her, I'm gonna assassinate the president.
Well, he has been released from prison after 40 years. We got about 3 minutes we can talk about it before we get to Ace's place. What do you think about that?
I mean, he served his time. He didn't kill him.
Curtis, I'm obsessed with her too. She fine. Hey, look here. I feel the same way about Pam Grier. I follow Pam Grier. I've been to DC looking for Pam Grier. I've been to New York City. She wasn't in either city at the time I went. I got some bad information. Nevertheless, I'm just glad I didn't find her.
That was what you were gonna do when you found her, man.
I just thought I might steal her sneakers or something and just take them with me. I don't know. So I sniffing them in front of them. But look here, getting back to Ronald Reagan, I think that once you attempt the life of the president, there's one of two options. The president of the United States, one or two options. You get life in prison or you get death. And I think they felt the same way. John Wilkes Booth felt the same way. Not John, I'm sorry. Ruby, what's his name? The one that killed?
Yeah, they killed the guy that killed.
Right. He felt the same way. He killed Jack Ruby. Fun fact, my next door neighbor, actually, she dated a guy who worked in the same club as Jack Ruby. The one that he owned. He knew Jack Ruby personally. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
You
know he was capable of that?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I talked to him about it. I think so. But anyway, moving on. We're going to talk a whole lot more about R. Kelly in just a little bit. But first, we got to get to Ace's place. We'll see y'all in about 40 seconds.
Rebrand us. It's motivating, inspiring. It's a conversation that needs to be had. It's Adrian, the Ace Stinson.
If you're not gonna help, don't hurt.
Eric Russell.
We need financial literacy. We also need to get over this level of fear that we have.
Anthony Gibson.
That my ancestors, whether they were slaves, innovators, or the first blacks to do something, their lives had a purpose.
It's unique to any other podcast. It's Rebrand You, Rebrand Me. It's Rebrand Us.
Ace's place. All All right, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Anthony Goodson. On the second half of this show, this is Rebrand Us alongside Adrian A. Stinson, and in their absence, Eric Russell and Kimberly Dow. Ace, what do you have for Ace's Place?
Today I just want to kind of kick a shout out to the legend Melvin Van Peebles. He was I'm truly a fan of his work, truly a fan of everything that he did. He put in motion the Black exploitation era, with one of my favorite films, Sweet Sweetback. And if you haven't seen Sweet Sweetback, you probably wouldn't like it if you're not a fan of Black exploitation and stuff like that. I just think that's such an important era in Black history, for the simple fact of first of all, it gave a lot of people jobs, and it created a lot of our heroes, Fred the Hammer, Isaac Hayes, as far as like on screen, Truck Turner and Black Caesar, and all those guys. And I just think we need to just pay him his respects due. And thank Mr. Melvin Van Peebles for putting everything in motion for us, and then passing the legacy down to his son, who is keeping up with the work and putting out great stuff, and has put together great great project.
Should have come up on the screen. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's it. Just kicking shout out to Melvin Van Peebles, from Sweet Sweetback, Posse, all the roles that he's played over time, and the things that he's written and been behind the camera. His life story is just amazing. He's talking how he went blind, looking at the film and stuff. He kind of lost his sight. He had Earth, Wind, and Fire. They were the band for his first movie, and he could barely pay him. He was writing hot checks and then picking back up, covering them and stuff. Interesting life, man. But Melvin Van Peebles, if you don't know about him, you need to look him up, because he's truly one of the people. If we're talking about Black history, he's definitely somebody to know.
One of the unfortunate parts about Melvin Van Peebles is he didn't have enough children. At least as far as I know, he had Mario. Mario, of course, was extremely talented, not only as an actor, but as a director himself. And if they had enough children, he could have been the Jacksons, he could have been the Wayans, the Winans, and all those people.
All those. I think he had it's Mario, and then he got a brother and a sister.
Yeah,
and that's what they got.
So they're not 100% industry people, but the talent is definitely there. Rest in peace, Melvin Van Peebles.
Oh yeah. Sweet Sweetback.
Oh, Sweet Sweetback. We are talking R. Kelly today. What's that noise in the background? You hear that?
Is that R. Kelly's house?
Does it ring a bell just yet?
Sound like, is that R. Kelly's crib, or what is it?
I wonder how long ago that was. R. Kelly convicted on all counts of all kind of different well, he got kidnapping. R. Kelly got the Mann Act. He got all kind of sexual acts. I don't know how long R. Kelly is actually gonna be.
They hit him with conspiracy. They hit him with conspiracy.
What was that one?
They hit him with he had conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
I think when you put conspiracy on, it's like 10 more years on top of that charge. When you hit
wow. Sounds like a baby in the background, says R. Kelly, man. I tell you. So he's that's another hero of mine to a certain degree that you just kind of love growing up. And you see him as just this great this image, and all of a sudden you realize that they are human.
Yeah.
And that's the funny part about. Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, and you just wonder why.
Well, you know what? The reality is we got to understand that he's human. We're human. Everybody's human. The Bible says God has no respect to person. Nobody's made any better necessarily than another. We all have choices. The devil still, has his playground. Yeah. And unfortunately, we look at somebody like R. Kelly simply because he has that talent that is so across the board that everybody can kind of enjoy and appreciate. We think that he's okay. And we do this with every celebrity. not only do we do this with celebrities when Michael Jackson's again, I know he was not convicted, but Bill Cosby, everybody.
Don't go back. He was proven innocent. Okay,
well, he was not convicted.
Bill Cosby.
But I mean, even though we do this, these people are just. He's gonna be the RuPaul prison line. These people are 100% normal, just like everybody else, and they have these secret lives that are not celebrity. That are. I mean, just think what you do in your closet. They don't want to. Yeah, you're right. Didn't you tell me about an 87-year-old boy? You think I'm gonna bring that up again? Did you?
No, May Pearl, huh?
But it's tough. It's tough. I mean, but the worst part about it is when celebrities die, we're also just as shocked. How is that? Michael Jackson died. Prince died. Who else? A lot of recent people who died, especially if they're younger, if they're 60 and younger, maybe 50 and younger. We really get caught off guard with those, as if they are so invincible. Why?
Because Michael Jackson had an album called Invincible. It went over your head. Don't worry about it. Well, because they they mean so. You know,
we need Kim right now.
it's kind of like we equate them to the music or to their talent, and it's almost kind of like we're gonna lose that. We're gonna lose that when we lose them. So it's like when you heard Michael Jackson pass, and it kind of resonate. Yeah, Michael Jackson passed, but you also heard Thriller dead, Beat It dead, Billie Jean dead. You know, that's what the initial shock of it is.
Well, I think that we kind of get used to them as a staple, as a part of our life, and they become like the like air. You hear them all the time, you see them all the time. You get just as comfortable with them being around as you do your own family, your parents, and so forth. And then when they finally do just die, especially if they die young, I think that what happens is you caught off guard. It's like you can get used to a Melvin Van Peebles passing away pretty quickly because he was out of the spotlight for so long. He was in his 80s and all those things. But when you get somebody young, like an Aaliyah who passed in 2001 from an airplane crash, it's just like your brother passing away unexpectedly out the blue. I think it hits the same way, maybe not the same deepness or depth, but I think that's what we deal with whenever we see some of our favorite celebrities come crashing down. I think just kind of this R. Kelly situation. I mean, he was going through this for so long that when he finally got a conviction, I almost felt like, oh, whatever y'all decide to do, just be done with this thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole, like I said, it's the whole celebrity about the thing. Because if he was just regular Joe Schmo, and while we talking about regular Joe Schmo, I knew R. Kelly was guilty when I figured out his middle name was Sylvester. That's a sneaky ass name.
Oh man, he had a hit in the 70s. You made me feel, didn't he?
Oh no, I'm just saying when I figure out his middle name, I ain't talking about the Sylvester.
Well, I was just adding them together. It went over
do you want to phone with me?
All right, so we didn't really have this on the agenda, but I kind of wanted to talk about this tonight. Again, y'all go ahead and put y'all's comments in. R. Kelly is what we're talking about right now, but let me take R. Kelly off the screen so we won't confuse anybody. I want to talk about Britney Spears. So Britney Spears, I think today, I didn't get the results. We can go on Yahoo or something and check it out. But Britney Spears, who's about 40 years old, has to go to court and I guess get her adulthood. I guess that's the best way really to kind of say it. She has to get her adulthood back from her parents. So a couple months ago, they gave her the right to get her own lawyer because they were assigning her a lawyer. So basically now she's getting to be the overseer of her money, her estate, all of those things. Britney Spears, who's probably worth about $100 million.
So
what do you think about that?
That's crazy. She's crazy.
Yeah, she's crazy. But see, I mean, is it your right to blow your money if you want to blow your money?
Yeah. It's your right. We see people do it all the time. Rick James was smoking up $2,000 a day. That was his right.
And I'm not even sure if she has a spending habit or a drug habit or what her habits are. Deborah Goodson says R. Kelly is just a man. He's not a god. Well, if you put the lowercase g on there, I guess he could be a god. You put capital G, he's not the god, but he could be a god to somebody. Like my car is a god.
He's a god. Shame what it is.
But let me know what y'all think about this Britney Spears situation. It throws me off because I don't understand it completely. Maybe one of you. Well, you know, she had a nervous breakdown back in.
Martin went crazy. His parents ain't over his money.
That's true.
Maybe it's you know what? Maybe that's how her husband took advantage of her. Remember when he divorced her and he got what's that, spousal support and everything?
Well, he got spousal support, he got child support, but the reality is she had a nervous breakdown, Britney. She was going through quite a bit, so it was necessary, of course, for him to have the children. It was probably necessary for him to, get spousal support, whatever state they lived in, California, I'm sure. So I get all that stuff. And of course, she may have been crazy and going through crazy things at that time. But that was maybe 15 years ago. Here we are 15 years later. Britney Spears is a grown adult, 40 years old, or close to it, 39 maybe. She at this point should have full right over all of her everything. So Leonard, if you earned it, good one, Leonard.
Yeah. Now I tell you what. So she basically had to ask the judge to give her adulthood back. So I mean, do you think she asked the judge to give it to her one more time, or how did she ask for it?
He probably said, "I give you a chance," and she messed up and came back and said, "Oops, I did it again." I don't know.
All right, we gotta stop. Them the only two songs I know about Britney.
And me too. I know a couple more, but they're not worth it.
I'm ashamed I know those two actually.
R. Kelly. That's our topic for tonight. R. Kelly. We talked about the Mann Act. We talked about all the different, convictions that R. Kelly have. She's not that innocent, they say. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a song title?
That's a song. Leonard, she's not that innocent. If she got sense enough to make the money, she should be able to spend it the way she want to spend it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one, Leonard. Or I don't even know who said that. Let's go back and see. But yeah, if she's got enough talent and sense to make the money. Now, maybe that was Deborah Goodson. I think maybe she did. Her parents, or they her managers, and they helped make all this money for her while she was in her heyday.
I never saw her parents on stage with her.
Well, yeah, but their parents, they may have booked it. They certainly put her in the Disney stuff. They did all those things for her.
I never saw them on the screen acting.
They may have paid for the acting coach.
But they didn't perform it.
I guess at the end of the day, they're trying to do what's best for Britney.
Are they? I'm kind of leery of stuff like that, when you because they basically controlling her life. I mean, you never know. They done how much stuff they done stopped her from achieving, or stuff that she wanted to do or take risk. Yeah, her mom was crazy then. If her mom was one of her original background dancers.
Well, she was on stage though.
Yeah, taking orders. She wasn't choreographing that. Yeah, well, she deserved whatever they paid her for that. But they just, I mean, you never know. That girl could have, she could have been with R. Kelly or something by now. You never know how it could have turned out. If she had her freedom.
Now stop it. You know she's way too old for R. Kelly. Come on now. If she's 40, she at least 23 years too old. Maybe 25.
If she wanted to get with him, she had to lie about her. She had to have a fake ID in reverse. No, I'm 16.
Oh man, when we come back, we're gonna talk more about this R. Kelly situation. We're gonna dig a little, not really dig too much deeper. We really want to get some of y'all's opinions. We want to know what y'all think about this R. Kelly situation when we come back.
It's smart.
If you just think about it, everybody that has had a harm or a foul done to them has been paid some form of reparations. It's up for us.
It's informative.
Systemic racism is a form of racism that is embedded as normal practice within society or an organization.
It's funny.
We were doing a march for equal rights for people in the adult industry with missing limbs.
Because that's the thing I feel our community is missing the most. We just don't take action. We're so skeptical of so many things that we wind up being the ones holding ourselves back.
It's rebrand us.
Rebrand. I think that definitely is the foundation of for everything. Because if you don't have love or a passion for something, you're not going to fight towards it. My kids are very young still at this point, 4 and 2. However, teaching them respect themselves, respecting each other. Free Brandon's mission basically is to help empower Black people to envision ourselves as better people.
Welcome back to Rebrand Us. I'm your host for tonight. My name is Anthony Goodson, alongside my main man, Adrian, the Ace Stinson. Tonight we've had a lengthy discussion about, of course, who's on your screen, R. Kelly. We've also had a discussion about A.J. Johnson, in which his wife went on, I guess, Instagram or Twitter or something, stating how nobody is quite helping them out. And, of course, Ace brought up a great point that, he was a John Doe at a hospital for 2 weeks before anybody said anything. 2 weeks. And yet now it seems like she's so concerned about him. And again, we talked about John Hinckley, the guy who was born in, I think, Oklahoma, Ardmore, if I'm not mistaken, but went to Highland Park High School, graduated from Texas Tech, and also tried to kill the president. He was released this week after 40 years. We decided, 40 years is 40 years. I personally believe that he should have stayed the rest of his life, if not gotten a chair, but that's a whole different conversation. Y'all let me know what you think. But, of course, the highlight of the week is R. Kelly. We want to know what y'all think about R. Kelly. Was he guilty? Was the parents guilty? That's the question. Do you think the parents are just as guilty as R. Kelly? Because we know when the money ran out, the parents ran out to get a lawyer. So I want to know what y'all think about that. Ace, now we talked about this. We touched on this briefly earlier. How guilty are the parents, though? Even though they, in your analogy earlier, for those of you who were not here, he was talking about robbing the bank. They're the ones that got away. But how guilty are the parents?
Oh, guilty. Oh, yeah, they're guilty. That's why I don't understand why they haven't been brought up on charges. Like R. Kelly, he should have been convicted, but then like the parents, like they should be, their trial should be now. It's like, okay, we got him out the way. Now let's get you guys going on. It's kind, to me, it's kind of like Charles Manson and his followers. Okay, we got Charlie, now it's y'all turn. You
made the comment earlier, and this is what really sets it off, because I believe all of us feel like this. You made the comment that if had it been my child, had I been one of those parents, I would have met R. Kelly at the house, and you brought your gun, you'd killed him, or you'd have been the guy who killed R. Kelly. Is what you said, and I quote. These other parents aren't doing that. R. Kelly is still living and well.
They were trying to get paid.
So they're trying to get paid, and I 100% believe, here we go, the parents are accomplices. I like that. The parents are accomplices.
Definitely helped him. Definitely.
That's Leonard. Deborah Goodson says the parents are also guilty. That's the issue with me. Like, you don't use your, how does this compare to a person who drills their kid? Of course, this is legal, but they drill their kids to play football, and they know their kids are hurt, but they have them to get these shots in high school because they're trying to get the scholarship. And then when they go to college, they push them and push them and push them till they get to the pros. How different are those two?
Well, they didn't have to take their draws off to play sports.
I think the parents should be tried for putting the girls out there.
No, they didn't put them out there. They pimped them.
Yeah, they pimped them. That's the difference between. Well, you know what though? Like I was saying in my analogy with the sports, with the athletes, they're pimping their kids, they're pimping their sons the same way. Their jaws aren't coming off, but that's not the only illegal or wrong way of treating your children.
Now pushing them and being money hungry and stuff like that, that's one thing. But nah, they knew what was going on. It was like, hey, give up your body and your innocence so we can get some money.
Now, for those of y'all who don't think that that's the case, let's take the Michael Jackson case, for example. These parents were trying to set up Michael Jackson by sending their kids over there, hoping something would happen. Nothing happened, so they lied. So you can't say parents don't do this to their children.
Yeah, they do. Some people just don't, just flat out care. The dollar comes first. But it's sad because we see this. It's a trend it's a trend in the Black community. It's kind of like we still, to an extent, have so many people that still don't want to hold R. Kelly accountable. Like, the way I was raised is in a situation like this, the way so many people acting, my daddy would have whooped our ass. My daddy didn't care about what they was doing. Did you get in trouble today? Yeah, I did. But John then was something. He didn't ask you what John then was doing. What did you do? But you got in trouble, right? You did it, right? And so I think we still keep trying to take the load off R. Kelly. Yeah, he's guilty, but he ain't guilty by himself. Nah, but he's guilty.
All right, so how much does this tarnish R. Kelly's legacy?
Oh,
and before you answer that, I'm gonna throw a few people out there. How much did because I got to go back a little bit for this to all make sense. How much did the whole OJ situation, who was acquitted by the way, tarnish his legacy? How much did the Bill Cosby situation tarnish his? And how much is it tarnishing R. Kelly's?
You see it. We in America, and whether you want to admit it or not, yes, race does play an issue with it. OJ. Now, first of all, I have to say some of this stuff to bring to my point. Unarmed innocent black man gets killed, shot 50 times by the police. Police officer gets out. The justice system works. The justice system did the right thing, right? OJ gets off in court. Oh, that's bull. But it's the same justice system. You either believe in it or you don't. So just like OJ, everybody still says he's guilty. He killed. No, the justice system that you say believe in found that man innocent in court. OJ is an innocent man. He didn't do it. He was acquitted. The glove didn't fit. They had to acquit. And this is the same justice system that you want to stand up for when it kind of meets your agenda, but then not. So it tarnished OJ 100%. He was acquitted and it tarnished him. Matter of fact, it tarnished him so much when they got another chance to get him on some BS where some people would have got hit with a misdemeanor and a fine, they threw him in a pen for 10 years. It was like, you're not even locked up for what you just did. We just want an excuse because we need to get something out of you for what our system said you were innocent of. Bill Cosby, same thing. And a lot of people, he's tarnished, even though his accuser admitted that she lied about some of the story to make it better, even though it was 30 some years after the fact that all these women came forward and stuff like that. It tarnished. And as far as R. Kelly, I hate to say it, it's tarnished in some people, but his celebrity, some people still think of R. Kelly as R. Kelly.
Yeah. This is what I think about R. Kelly. R. Kelly put out so much music that we're going to have R. Kelly the same way we've always had R. Kelly. R. Kelly was really just a singer only. I mean, in the music industry, he did all the there was some writing and all the other things he did. But R. Kelly wasn't an actor. We didn't see him in commercials. We didn't see him anywhere outside of just maybe his own music videos. And if you didn't watch music videos, well, he didn't have that one tape, but it was great. It was great, and we should have played it, but I don't know if our audience would too much care about saying that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't think that he's going to take the same hit that people we see in the spotlight all the time, like a Bill Cosby or an OJ, because OJ was on the sideline of Monday Night Football games and all these things and jumping over, chairs at the airport. We saw them. They were really thrown out there. Their image was huge. R. Kelly was huge, but he was so in the background. I really don't think his legacy is going to be tarnished. I really don't think that anybody is going to really miss him, except for when they stop playing his music on the radio. If they stop playing his music on the radio.
Well, people still going, you know what? His music is going to become that taboo. It's like, it won't be on the radio, but when you're at your house having that get together, you chilling and stuff like that, people going to look to the left, look to the right, and they going to hit that 12 play one time.
Now, I tell you what's funny. Again, like I have done every 10 minutes of tonight's show, going back to the original rebrandus thought process, looking at how race plays in America. So Kramer from Seinfeld, he went off and said all these words and did all these things at this comedy club, and Seinfeld went through the roof. We can do this for a few other shows, and since we're running low on time, I won't do it. I wonder if R. Kelly is going to have CD sales through the roof. I say no.
No.
Anyway, well, we got a good show lined up for the next couple weeks. Actually, I got one of my cousins is going to be on the show in like 2 weeks. So that's going to be pretty exciting for me. But for next week, I don't know exactly what we have next week. So Ace, I think you're gonna tell us, right?
Hey, yo, Ace, who do we have on the show next week?
I'm discussing the topics that have to deal with the black family. You know the food or the drink is good when the person says swallow instead of swallow. We do have a new sponsor. Today's show was brought to everybody by Pastor Jim Jones Flavor Kool-Aid. Let's all take a nap. Married couples that swing at the playground, are they confused or just risk takers? Giggity giggity.
You catch Adrian, the Ace Stinson, and the rest of the Rebranders crew live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central on YouTube and Instagram at Rebranders Podcast, Facebook at Rebranders, or Rebranders.org.
So Ace, what we got next week?
Well, y'all know I always try to go out and find us the best interviews and the best people and everything. Keeping it in the spirit of R. Kelly. Next week we're gonna have an exclusive interview. Actually, I've been allowed access. I'll probably have to leave out Wednesday morning. We'll actually be speaking from in the jail with disgraced, or fallen, how you want to say disgraced Subway spokesperson Jared Fogle. So basically, we're just gonna be interviewing him by Life Behind Bars. He's gonna be breaking down how the terms foot long and 6 inch took on a whole new meaning. So we'll be discussing that with him.
Hey, before we get off, you were I called you earlier today. You were reading a book, and you told me you had to call me back. You got to give me a little bit of information about this book that you were reading.
The book I was reading?
Yeah, you were reading this book. I think it was a music book about, maybe it wasn't the Jackson's dad. I don't think it was Joe Jackson. It was maybe
you talking about? Oh yeah, that's why I'm halfway sitting up here like this now. I was actually I just had finished the autobiography of Ike Turner, and boy, am I beat. Yeah, it was a rough read, man. It was a rough read.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Words just jumped out from the page. Ike, what? You gotta. It's if you read it, you just have to make sure if you can kind of. It's one of those ones where if you can kind of put it in perspective from him and what he was going through, you can understand it better. So I read it. I watched a lot of Ike Turner interviews, so I read it in his voice. And so at that time, I knew Tina needed her ass whooped. I backhanded her. She fell over the chair. Say it again. Say it again. You know, you just have to read the book like that.
At what point did you say eat the cake? That's the question.
You know what? That was actually in chapter 6.
Eat the cake, anime. Eat the cake. Hey, well, look here. We talked about R. Kelly, AJ Johnson. We talked a little bit about John Hinckley and other things. Thank y'all for joining us. Thank y'all for the comments. Kirby, for sure. Thank you for your comments, Deborah Goodson.
Definitely.
Leonard, man, y'all just keep them coming.
Rose Francois. Rose, where are you at? We need you. We need to talk about Haiti. We need to get your stance on it. What's going on with the people? So Rose, if you're out there, holler at us. We want you on the show.
Absolutely. We always take Rose on this show for sure. So if you know Rose, go get Rose.
Go get Rose. Go get Rose if you know Rose.
Hey, we'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all for joining us. If you have any topics, let me go ahead and put this. Let me put the scrolly on there. If you have any topics you want us to talk about, or if you ever want to join the show, here we go. Email us at rebranderspodcast@yahoo.com.
Don't forget tonight. Please share this page.
Yeah. Well, Ace ain't getting paid this week. I'm gonna go ahead and take that paycheck.
One last word of wisdom before we go, if I can, to the people. We good? Okay, I say something, man. You host it. Well, just to the family of AJ Johnson, we definitely heard rebrand us. We definitely sympathize for your loss, praying for your strength and for your comfort. If you get out a pen and paper, you write this down. 214-941-7332. Golden Gate to get you hooked up for
all of your
great price, Sunday place. All your
What's
family
that?
needs.
What's that number again?
Okay, you give them a call. Ask for Mr. Beckwith. 214-941-7332. You know, we have to get the body down. Maybe with that, some of that money Michael Blackson sent, you get the body down. Golden Gate, they get taken care of. And condolences to the Johnson family.
There you have it. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll see y'all next week.